Here we are. So let's go through our purpose. So like yesterday, which is very similar to today, nothing has changed in terms of our purpose. So we want to engage you today in this important dialogue about the future of diversity in the workforce here in Pennsylvania. That's why we're here. We want to elevate this conversation, talk about new opportunities and the tools that we need to mobilize, prioritize, and take actionable steps. So actionable is the key word here, toward increasing the number of Black and Latinx educators in Pennsylvania. So that's what we're going to be focused on. And we want to develop culturally relevant and sustaining educators in Pennsylvania as well. So not just the diversity, but also the cultural competencies as well. So that's our summit purpose for today. And our objectives, as you can see, and I'm going to go through them and I'm going to read them because I want us to be clear about why exactly we're here and what our goals are. We want to examine the vital role of the preparation, recruitment, hiring, and retention of highly effective, culturally relevant, and sustaining pre-K through 20 educators as foundational to dismantling systemic racism across Pennsylvania's ecosystem. We want to identify how local education agencies, LEAs, institutions of higher education, and community-based organizations can utilize data to examine trends, assess challenges, and set goals for increasing educator diversity locally, regionally, and statewide. We want to center the voices and experiences of Black and Latinx students and educators in the identification of action steps relating to the need for culturally relevant and sustaining education, teacher effectiveness, and equity and diversity in the educator workforce. And we talk about teacher effectiveness and teacher diversity as almost being one and the same. We want to explore various strategies and tools for implementation of the consortium's culturally relevant and sustaining education competencies, as well as initiatives relating to the recruitment, mentorship, and retention of Black and Latinx teachers. Now, what I want us to do, I have a Mentee Meter question for everyone. I'm going to share my screen. Karen, can you drop the Mentee Meter link?
They'll drop it in.
I'll throw it in.
Thank you. It's a 1 or 2 word intention that I hold for today's session. Let me go back to my basic screen. A 1 or 2 day intention that I hold for today's session. Is everyone able to see my screen? So work at the edge of my comfort zone. Folks want to make connections, gain knowledge and insight, be present, learning and empowerment. Keep them coming. There are many of you here, so I want to hear from everyone. Growth, continual learning, a lot of the same kind of ideas here, right? Listening, actionable steps, the taking of action, improvement, honesty, deeply understand standards, gain insight. Let's see if I missed anything. To become increasingly aware of DEI and PA, listen attentively and grow. Reflection and growth again, connections and collaborations, a lot of connections. There are folks here, use the chat to connect with each other, use your opportunities in your breakout room to talk, to make connections. We're all doing the same work and it's so helpful when you can engage with each other. A commitment, we have a commitment here to this work for sure, teacher diversity. To understand my part in the work, action, strategies, and personal professional growth. I think that's wisdom. Moving forward, setting professional goals for a new school year, that's awesome. So a lot of the same kind of ideas, a lot of the same reasons why we're here. So we have 60 people participating. So please continue to just drop your thoughts in the Mentee Meter and engage. And you know, this information is very useful to us for why you're here. And I'm wondering if Ron is back in the room to kind of, I think Ron expects to be here at 9. I'm just gonna say that. Yes.
Ron's on his way. He had a question from Amy Eitzen about the competencies, where she can find them, and whether or not they're going to be, let me go back and find the question. They're going to have to be implemented, and sort of what the timing is on that, what the background. So I know that we had a lot of people joining us yesterday. People fanned out in the afternoon across multiple sessions. Could you just give a 2-minute kind of response to the competencies, where they are and how they'll be rolled out?
Absolutely. So we did the work on the competencies, the consortium did, in collaboration with PDE. Where we are as a consortium, the competencies, the work that we've done is complete, but PDE has the competencies in their hand now, and they reserve the right to modify or to do, to work to get it into Chapter 49, to implement, right? We don't know exactly what plans at the moment PDE has for the competencies, but we know that we have been piloting the competencies, engaging with them. And yesterday you were able to see in the different groups that you went to how folks are already actively working with them. And so, where you can find them, we could definitely shoot an email out to everyone so that you have access to the competencies. You should also know that we are working on a toolkit, which you will get very soon. And the toolkit will have a lot of resources around this work, right? Culturally responsive education. We have a rubric that Tamara, Megara, Rochelle, Peterson, and Sari, and others have worked so hard on to make available to you as well. So we have our rubric, we have reflexive questions in those competencies. We have just so many different resources, and we're going to put that together, organize it, and share it out with you. So what you're going to get from us is a really robust picture of what this whole work looks like. PDE might be able to offer you just the competencies. So we have a lot of like supplementary information that you can use as you're engaging in this work. And if you want to, reach out to us, there's so many of us, a part of the consortium, who are taking up the competencies in different ways. So you can just definitely reach out to us, and then we'll share out or engage with you around questions relating to the competencies. Are there any other competency related questions? Okay, yeah. So I think where we are is what we know about the competencies, and I just want to, I'll stop after this, is that we have a definition I shared out yesterday that has made it into Chapter 49, right? I think it's our definition of culturally relevant and sustaining education. There's so many different ways that the competencies can be taken up by PDE. Our push right now is for the competencies to make it into Chapter 49. We don't know if that's going to happen, but there are many different possibilities for where it could end up as well. Major review, potentially. It could potentially be paired with PDE 430, teacher evaluation tool. So there are many different ways that it could be taken up. We don't know which one is going to happen, but we just want you to take it up anyway. Whether or not it's required, we want you to take it up. We want you to use it, make sense of it, engage with each other around it, develop professional development modules around it, figure out how you can use it personally as well. So it's not just for your organization, it's for you also as an individual. So we want you to kind of, to use it and reach out to us if you have questions about how do I use it.
Thank you, Donna-Marie.
Oh, welcome. Go ahead.
We're going to pass the floor to Ron. Morning, Ron.
Good morning, colleagues. Dr. Donna-Marie. Thank you so much. My apologies, colleagues, as I had scheduled another quick meeting this morning, and obviously we started a little bit quickly, but I'd like to say good morning and welcome to day 2 of this awesome
and Ron,
gathering.
I just went over the summit. I went over the purpose and the objective, so you don't need to do that again.
Okay, sounds good. I guess really quickly, Donna-Marie, I just wanted to really just reflect on yesterday. And I think if we could do it a little bit differently, if you could put some thoughts in the chat box, maybe it's just one word such as wow. And so, for example, when I put in wow in the chat box right now, I am thinking about those awesome students, right? that was a moment, I think, for all of us to really realize this isn't just a conversation that we're having, but we need to understand the real life implications. And those students, the narratives that they courageously shared, the narratives about resilience, the narratives of being cognizant of how they feel sometimes of being othered or being viewed as nobodies, but yet they are still advocating for the things that we're advocating for. It just blew my mind. And it also gave me hope of what's to come in the future. The other piece is we had a lot of informative presentations that was really not just centered around data, but also it was an opportunity for us to really glean from one another. Obviously, when we think about the CRSC competencies and the things in which our colleagues are really grappling with the CRSC competencies, again, it takes this huge document that we have worked collaboratively on for over a year now, but it gave it some flesh, right? Where we really got to really hear from one another in terms of the ways in which we're using it, perhaps some of our struggles, perhaps some of our opportunities. So that in itself was something that we all should be proud of. I'm seeing a whole lot of thoughts coming in, encouraging, awakening, inspired to push forward, thought-provoking awareness. I think that is a great segue to today. So in a few minutes, we are going to have a phenomenal keynote presentation by Dr. Heather Bennett. After that, I think that we all then need to think about, well, what are our marching orders? So for example, in one of the sessions yesterday, Donna-Marie, as inspired as we was, one of the colleagues said, okay, what are the implications? And I think that sets us up for the policy agenda piece that we're going to have at 9:25, where we really think about some of the implications of this particular work. After that, at 11:10 a.m., we have a great presentation by the title of A Data-Infused Conversation about Recent Efforts to Increase Education Diversity in Pennsylvania. We have phenomenal presenters. Obviously, many of us are familiar with Sharif El-Makki and the work that he is doing at the local level, the state level, and the national level. We also have Saxon Nelson and also David Lapp. Then it will be time for a health break. And then this afternoon, again, we will have, similar to yesterday, our concurrent session. So I don't know about you, but I am super excited. One of the things that I want us all to really think about today is, okay, once we leave this space, how are we going to maximize this moment? So we just are not having a conversation. So we're just not hearing great presentations, but how are we going to maximize this moment? So if you want to give us a charge in terms of some of the things that you're hoping that we will continue to think about moving forward, please let us know that, whether you put it in the chat box or whether you reach out to some of our planning committee leaders in terms of the things that we now need to take back as a team and say, we cannot wait another month or 2 months or 3 months. This is something that we need to really think about over the summer so we could develop our strategic agenda moving forward. So with that being said, colleagues, I'm looking forward to a phenomenal day 2. Donna-Marie, I don't know if you want to add anything on top of everything that I shared. If not, I guess we'll get ready to transition. Donna-Marie.
Yes, thank